So, welcome back again to Healthy Living. Once again, we are blessed here in the studio to have David Wolfe visiting us here. Today, we are going to be going over an introductory course in making smoothies. David is a researcher, educator, and author on the topics of raw food nutrition, superfoods, herbal healing, and of course, chocolate. His books include the Sun Food Diet Success System, Eating for Beauty, and Naked Chocolate. David, thanks for joining us here again. Okay, so what do we have here and where are we going to start?
Okay, what we're going to do here is we're going to create a smoothie. And the idea here is that for one meal out of the day, instead of actually like sitting down and eating something, what we're going to do is we're going to create like a super drink.
Yeah.
And like an energy drink, but our own energy drink. The reason why I like to do that is because if we can take one meal a day and turn it into a liquid, it's so much easier
to digest.
Because the whole premise behind digestion is whatever we eat has to be turned into a liquid. The old saying is chew your juice, drink your food. And that's kind of this idea here. We're going to be drinking our food.
Sounds incredible.
I think it's going to be perfect and excellent. Okay, so first step in smoothie making is, what is our base going to be? What's the liquid going to be?
Okay.
And there's different choices. One choice could be water.
Okay.
Another choice could be coconut water, which is going to be our choice today.
One of my favorites.
Another choice, strangely enough, could be coffee.
Coffee.
So we take that coffee, which is just hitting kind of one note, and we spread it around so we hit a bunch of notes with it, and therefore we don't get kind of stimulated too far in one direction.
So you can like bring down the impact, the negative impact of the coffee.
You can balance it out herbally, with superfoods.
Really?
That's exactly right.
So, okay.
A lot of times people drink coffee to deal with stress,
right?
But then after a while it flips around and all of a sudden it's causing stress.
Yes.
And we can help with this kind of a diet with these foods to kind of cushion that a little bit so people feel good always. We should always feel great every day. That's the whole idea of nutrition.
Right.
You are what you eat is a fundamental code that God gave us.
Yeah,
it's part of the setup. We're going to put in here, and we're going to cut open the space. Now, this is actually a coconut.
Okay.
Okay, we ready? So now we're going to cut into this. Now, this is something you're going to have to master at home, and fortunately, I've done this a few times.
Now, tell us about the properties of the coconut.
Coconut water is the best form of electrolytes going. There's nothing better than coconut water for electrolytes. What that means is it has sodium in suspension, potassium in suspension, so it's good for your blood.
Yeah, I've heard it could talk about wheatgrass and coconut for the blood.
If you mix wheatgrass about 55% with about 45% coconut water, just this water that we have right here and there, you have something that's basically a blood transfusion.
Except for it's got magnesium instead of iron.
Right, exactly. And so magnesium in chlorophyll is flipped around into iron in our blood, and pretty much they're identical. Chlorophyll and hemoglobin in our blood are identical. And what we're doing here is we're kind of taking advantage of a long body of knowledge about coconuts, which has stated that coconuts can be used, the water can be used straight into our blood.
Is that done anywhere in the world?
It has been done in certain conflicts and wars that have happened in the past, but good thing that all those conflicts and wars are all over with, because now we're living in paradise.
Right.
Okay, so now what I'm going to do, this is really a lot of fun, we're going to cut this thing in half, and we're going to get all those goodies out of there. See all that meat?
Yeah.
We can actually get this. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now I've split this thing open. Anyway, this is, well, look at, there's our sample. That's the meat. And notice that it's not that thick, hard, you can't chew it, or it's really terrible.
It's gelatinous.
It's thin and gelatinous. And this is the stuff that's really good for rejuvenation, for youthening. And I'm actually just going to put this in your hands. What we're going to do is you're just going to kind of spoon that out, and let's just see what that looks like. Let's make sure everyone can see that. We spoon that meat out, and we're just going to put that in there. And while you're doing that, we're going to move on to step 2.
Well, so this is what I've read. Okay, so saturated fat, you want to avoid it except in coconut oil, and I think palm oil, isn't that another one that has saturated fat? Okay.
The thing is people say, okay, well, saturated fat, what about cholesterol?
Yeah.
Is there cholesterol in this? And the answer is no. There's no cholesterol found in plants. And that's really important to understand. People say, well, no, I read it somewhere. If you do the research, you'll find that there's no cholesterol in plants. We've got our coconut base in there. We've gotten to step 1. Now we're going to step 2. And that is, we decide, is this going to be a chocolate smoothie or not?
Okay, so chocolate smoothie.
This is chocolate nibs or cacao nibs. These are pieces of the actual chocolate bean that all chocolate is made out of that we did on our previous show together. We talked about this. And inside this bean, you can actually see the chocolate. Now, we have broken the skin off and we've gotten these into pieces. And we're going to actually put a few of these pieces in here. And the reason why we do this is because chocolate, in its natural state, is so darn nutritious.
Yeah, and now this is separate from the raw chocolate powder.
Yeah, let's talk about these two products here for a minute because we have the whole beans in there now. We took those nibs, we put it in. Now we want to talk about some of the alchemical sides of chocolate.
Okay.
This product right here, which is the powder, and it's a real, I mean, it's just, I mean, the beauty of this product is outrageous.
Okay, so what benefits does that have? Because I mean, I would gravitate towards this. Okay. I'm up for that.
If you have the cacao bean or nib, and you have the powder, and you have the oil, and that oil is pressed out of this bean, cold processed, cold pressed, and then what's left over is this cakey material. This is kind of an alchemy. What happens if you combine this, that, and that is you get a more complete and rounded chocolate flavor. Okay, anyway, so we're gonna get that in there. We throw that in there, and it's so, you know, it's just a relief to make a mess.
Okay.
Okay, so then we're gonna take this cacao butter, which literally, it's just outrageous. Yeah. Women, if you're watching, let me tell you something. You can take this raw cacao butter,
put it under your eyes.
Right under your eyes, right over here. It's the best oil ever for your skin.
And you were mentioning that it's in most cosmetic products.
This product, in its cooked form, is in almost every cosmetic product known. In its raw form, doesn't exist. This is the first raw cacao butter ever, or cocoa butter, if you've ever seen it. You've seen it in suntan lotions.
Yep, exactly.
So we're going to put that in here. Why are we doing that again? Because it just is the best ever.
Okay.
Okay, so now we've got our chocolate and we have our base.
Right.
So we have all the preliminary ingredients to make the best drink ever.
Now, what are other options that you could use if you don't have coconut and you don't have coffee?
Okay, you could use, for example, water.
Okay,
or
water.
Tea.
Okay.
These are all choices for bases because we've got to have something to actually blend it into. And what we did is we chose coconut and then we put chocolate in. Okay, now what's our next thing? Well, I really like to look at some of our berry ingredients.
So that's going to bring in the antioxidants. So we have the fats, which are going to help ground the mind and ground the body, and also kind of like grease the nervous system, so that kind of like provide oil for the nervous system.
That's right.
To help it react smoothly.
Keep going. Yep. If you're a vegetarian, this is really important because this is a type of a smoothie. This is 100% vegan, vegetarian.
Right.
No animal products whatsoever. And this is a way of getting that real flavor and taste sensation while getting all your nutrition. So you can literally have the best day ever and enjoy every part of your eating experience without shame, guilt, or fear.
Works for me.
You ready for our berry antioxidant blast?
That's right. Okay, so what do we have now? Talk about the values.
Strawberries. Okay.
Strawberries, of the benefits of berries and their antioxidant properties.
We're going to really go berry crazy here because this is just the best ever.
Okay, so we put in about a cup or half, or 3/4 of a cup?
That was about a cup. No, that was about
of strawberries?
half a cup. Let's see what we got here. I'm going to put it all in here. That was strawberries. Now this is raspberries. Yeah. Raspberries and chocolate go so well together. It's just ridiculous. It's a kind of a traditional
Yes, that's
thing.
right.